So I want to talk about my own opinion on a sensitive topic in the gacha space currently, which is power creep and HP inflation, right? And this has recently been a big thing with HSR. It's now a big thing with ZZZ. You know, big CCs trying to agenda push that this shit is much worse than it actually is. It's like giga casuals who have no clue how to play the game, saying that you need to pull the newest unit to clear endgame. And then you have the sweats who are just completely, you know, dancing on their asses and using like complete 4-star teams, using solo teams, and they're also clearing the end game content. Like, no, you're just a tourist, you don't fucking understand this game, right? And it's a battle of two extremes against each other, where one side just doesn't want to give up the fact that they just fucking suck at the game, and then the other side doesn't really realize why HP inflation and power creep could be a problem, because they're so good at the game that it doesn't fucking matter and they can make damn near anything work, right? And so obviously the casual side is for sure more so on the wrong here, especially when you see like some of these big CCs peddling like, oh my god, ZZZ's endgame is unclearable if you don't have Miyabi, when you have people like saying Tonetaz pushing this agenda, when even with Miyabi he's clearing by literal single digit seconds. Or when they talk about the power creep in HSR, just for once again Saint to get outdone by HSR's auto battle in terms of endgame cycle clearage. That's how you know it's really bad, right? And so it's like, power creep and HP inflation is bad, don't get me wrong, but it is coming from the wrong mouths who just want to push agendas instead of actually learning the ins and outs of a game they're criticizing, right? And this is why, like, sometimes, right, you guys will notice this, even though I hate drama, sometimes I will make videos like calling out these CCs. I have this issue in my head where I just fall for the rage bait, right? I fully realize it's just drama bait, rage bait to get as many views and make them as much money as possible, but I always fall for it because I always just get so ticked off by misinfo spread by people who don't actually play the games they're talking about. But it is what it is, right? Basically, I personally don't think it's an issue. I have played all endgames for all 4 of the main gacha games, and even after taking like half-year to year-long breaks for some of these games, ZZZ, Genshin, and Wuwa, I've been able to clear all their endgames first try. And it probably should be like that because these games are targeted towards casuals at the end of the day, right? The reason why power creep and HP inflation exists, and the reason why casuals, you know, think that you need the newest, shiniest unit to clear endgame content in these other games is because that's literally what the company wants you to think. They want you to feel like your older unit isn't clearing as good as it used to, and that you need that newest, shiniest unit that they're releasing so that you drop money for it. It's a marketing tactic, right? All gacha games do this, right? And so this leads to all of this misconceptions, these drama farming, rage bait, one side versus the other, right? And personally, once again, this shit just does not affect me. As someone who comes from constantly basically playing competitive multiplayer games all my life, compared to the gachas, it's fucking night and day. In fact, it's the difference between like a pebble on the floor and the vast universe. Gacha games are not only just so much easier to understand, but mechanically they are a lot easier to learn how to play. Like, you can literally spend half an hour to an hour learning a rotation in any of these games, and you'll instantly get a massive performance uplift and no longer need to worry about the thought of, I need new character to clear endgame content. The simple truth is that most casual players in these gacha games are incredibly lazy and simply procrastinate, leading to them never wanting to learn how to play the game and simply wanting to clear for the instant self-satisfaction. And this leads to, you know, an unhealthy mindset of, oh, if I can't clear, pull new unit, right? And if I don't pull the new unit, I'm gonna cry about this game, you know, power creep and HP inflation, right? I think it's stupid. I think it's dumb. I think all the end games in these gachas are piss easy, and I think this drama is completely overblown, right? That at the end of the day, that's the TLDR of this video. I think that all of this drama is literally for fucking nothing. Anyone who actually plays these gacha games and semi-learns how to play them will have a complete breeze in all of them. And so everybody who falls into the middle of the pack like me, where you're not a giga sweat but also not a giga casual, all of this drama farming, all this rage bait, it just makes no sense. And it's so incredibly unhealthy because of the amount of misinfo that gets spread from it, right? Like, it's usually, once again, these few big gacha CCs who are more opinion CCs than they are gacha, to be honest, but they just spread these opinions, and their audience, because they have such a big following, they eat that shit up. Right? And I recently watched a video from Gacha Smack where I realized, like, he is right, but at the same time, I do still feel like some of these CCs need to be called out. Smack recently released a video telling people that he's been kind of looking at the state of the gacha space currently, and he's basically saying, telling people who are complaining about the big gacha CCs spreading misinfo and talking out of their ass for all these games, saying, get a life, right? Stop caring about what these other people think. And it might sound extreme, but he truly isn't wrong, right? If you just don't think too much about it and you just let things be, it truly has no reason to affect you in the slightest, right? Truly. However, it is still completely justified for people to call out certain CCs on their bullshit, right? You can argue that, it doesn't really matter all that much, people shouldn't care about this much. However, at the end of the day, the matter is people do care about this, especially because this has been something going on, like agenda pushing by big CCs who have no idea what they're doing for games they don't play for years at this point. And at some point, you gotta, realize a lot of people just get absolutely fed up with the bullshit and have to retaliate at some point, right? Like, you can't just be a fucking dead dog taking the beating over and over again and letting people infiltrate your community or the game you love and just constantly spread agendas and misinfo. So I want to say to, that Gacha Smack video I watched, honestly, I think it was almost a perfect video. I agree with almost everything he said. We honestly shouldn't care all that much about what these CCs say, drama farm, or rage bait about. However, at the same time, personally, I can understand why people, including myself, sometimes just get so fucking fed up that they decide to give their own opinions in retaliation. Love you all. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Peace out.